Today what I want to talk about with you is the Golf Home Fitness Assessment. And with the thousands of golfers that we've worked with here at Par for Success, we've been able to take a very complicated, long 2-hour evaluation and really compress it into what tests really give us the results that we want. And what I'm hoping to do in this video is share with you some of the 4 core tests that are a part of our assessment here that I believe give the most bang for your buck, the most return on your time investment. If you're going to actually try to improve your body, to improve your golf swing, these are the 4 single tests that are going to create the biggest impact for you. So what I want to do is just give you a quick outline of what these tests are, and then we'll jump into each test. As I'm doing each one, I'll talk to you about what the norms would be, what your goals are. If you can't achieve a certain range of motion or you fail a test, I'll talk to you about what sort of implications that might have for your golf swing. The key as we're going through these tests is going to be that you are kind of ruthless with yourself, or whoever you're administering the test with, that there's no gray area. It's pass, fail, black or white. You're not going to help anybody or yourself out by giving yourself an extra 5 degrees when you actually truly could benefit from doing a corrective program that may give you another 15 degrees. So be truly honest with yourself and with whoever you're assessing, and that'll give you the best outcomes. But enough of me talking about an intro. Let's get into what this home assessment actually is. So there's 4 main areas of rotation that your body has. If we bring back my famed art drawings here, I'm clearly not an artist. So we'll call this Golfer Bob. So he's happy because he's going through his home assessment. But there's the 4 main areas that you're going to have to look at are going to be your neck, your shoulders, your thoracic spine, and your hips. Those are the big, number 1, the big 4 rotary centers that we have as golfers and as athletes. If you cannot rotate in one of those areas, inevitably what will happen is you'll try to make up for rotation in that area by overstressing one of the other areas, or the most common area that gets overstressed is going to be right in here in the low back. So most low back pain actually has its origins in problems with people who cannot pass one of these 4 tests that we're going to get into. So we'll start at the head, we'll work our way down today, and as we go through it, please take yourself through the assessment, be honest with yourself, and without further ado, let's see how you do. So the first test that we want to talk about is going to be the neck rotation test. So what you're going to do is sit with your feet flat, you're going to rotate your chin over your collarbone, and then try to come down to touch your collarbone. A pass is if you can rotate over and touch your collarbone on both sides. For a right-handed golfer, being able to turn your head left so that way you can make a full backswing is critically important, and the turning your head right for a lefty is equally as important. If you can't turn your head left or right, a couple swing faults that you may see are going to be a lot of shifting side to side. You may also see standing up out of posture. Not being able to rotate your neck often is missed and often attributed to the golfer just needing to get more shoulder turn or some other kind of quote-unquote golfy term. If you don't check your neck, you're really shorting yourself. It's a very simple test. If somebody cannot, they can rotate fully. So if you look at me from the side, I can rotate full over my chin, but let's say I can't get down to my collarbone. They still will probably be able to make a full golf swing. Your main problem will come when somebody, let's say, only gets to here. So maybe they only get halfway or 45 degrees. If you can get over and touch, then you know that you're totally clear. If you can't get down to touch the collarbone without lifting your shoulder or opening your mouth, then you do want to make sure that you at the very least can rotate fully. So a pass there is over and touching the collarbone. A fail is anything short of that. On the scale of failing, if you can rotate fully but you can't touch your collarbone, you'll probably be okay in the golf swing, but it is something that you would want to take a little bit of a deeper look into. For the trunk rotation test, so we're going to look at how well you rotate in through your upper spine. What we're going to do is have our feet and knees together. We're going to cross our arms over our shoulders, and we're going to rotate as far as we can to one direction. And then we're going to come back, and then we're going to rotate again as far as we can the other direction. A pass would be getting at least 45 degrees either way. You can put a golf club over your shoulders. Sometimes that helps if you wanted to put a little X on the ground and see how far over that X that golf club came. Full range of motion would be considered about 60 degrees. That's what the guys on tour have. The girls sometimes, and some of the guys actually have more than that. But the average we generally look for is 60 degrees. 45 would be the absolute cutoff. If you can get to 50 or 55, in our experience, you're able to make a pretty decent swing and a decent move. But anything short of 60, keeping your knees together, would be a fail. Be careful when you're doing it that you'll tend to want to open up your legs and look at how great you moved. What if you restrict back your legs and you would actually be short of that full range of motion? Swing faults that you can see if you fail this test. You could be swaying and sliding like we talked about with the neck. You're going to see a lot of similar swing faults here if you're lacking rotation in any of these areas. But other ones could be standing up out of posture and particularly arching your back at the top of the backswing, as well as when you come through the golf ball. You may have difficulty separating upper and lower body just because you're lacking total rotation in through that upper spine. So let's get into the next test, which will be hip rotation. For the hip rotation test, what you're going to do is start by sitting square at the end of your chair. You're going to try not to lean as much as you can. Try to stay as upright as possible. You're going to take your leg and you're going to try to lift it out to the side, rotating it as far as you can. And your goal is to get that shin to be around 45 degrees out to the side. That's looking at internal rotation. So for a right-handed golfer, when you turn into your right side on your backswing, for a left-handed golfer, into your left side on your backswing, that's internal rotation of the trail hip. And then as you come down through impact and follow through, the right leg for a lefty golfer and the left leg for a righty golfer, that's internal rotation into your lead leg. If you're less than 45 degrees on right or left, and it's possible to pass on one and fail on the other, as with any of the tests, you're going to have a lot of difficulty rotating to fully load into your trail side and to fully get through weight shifted onto the lead side at impact. Failing this test is the #1 predictor of low back pain in golfers. Also failing the torso rotation test. Limitations in the thoracic spine or in the hips tend to come back to the low back, and that because the above and below are not moving, you're going to attempt to use your low back to make up for the lack of rotation in your hips or your thoracic spine. The low back is not designed to do this, which is why most back problems in golf are not actually back problems. They are actually coming from the hip or the thoracic spine. For the shoulder mobility test, what you're going to do is you're going to stand into golf posture. Arms are going to be up to the side, and you're going to rotate your hands back as far as you can. You want to avoid a big arch in your low back, trying to maintain nice and neutral in the spine. And if we look at the angle of my forearm, that forearm needs to get past the angle of my spine. If it's equal to or less than, that is a fail. So if you struggle getting your arms back in golf posture, there can be a couple of reasons for that. One can be that your shoulder's just tight and it's not going to get there. The other, which is particularly prevalent in women and in juniors, will be that they actually have all the mobility in the world to get back there, but they just aren't able to really control that mobility to use everything that they have. So if you fail this test from a swing perspective, a lot of times we'll see on the takeaway, we'll see a flying elbow, we'll see standing up out of posture because you aren't able to get your arm into the correct position to support the club at the top. And then as you come down through the golf swing, we'll see a chicken wing or a scooping at the bottom because you aren't able to externally rotate or finish through the golf ball. So if you do have a fail on this test, there are lots of implications, particularly for wrist, elbow, and shoulder injuries. I've actually had a couple of cases too where people who fail this test, shoulder problems actually lead into back issues and other areas in the body because we can't control our arms, so they're using low back and other areas to try to make up for it. So remember, if you did not get beyond spine angle, that is a fail. That is a fail. The only pass in this situation is in golf posture, and that forearm gets back behind the spine. So let us know how you did on these tests. Remember, if you were questioning at all if you passed the neck, the trunk rotation, the hips, or the shoulders, mark yourself as a fail, shoot us an email at info@parforsuccess.com, and we'd be more than happy to send you a couple simple fixes to try out and see if you can improve your test results. And as always, remember to swing faster, play better, and hurt less.